have anybody to talk to about it. I've seen a lot of people have success just posting whatever they want to say online. Success or not, I just felt like I should go for it. Sometimes it's hard, you know. You feel like you put yourself out there for nothing. You feel like you're setting yourself up for failure sometimes. And I think there's validity to that, honestly. I think sometimes you are. There's no way around it, really, because you have to. It sounds stereotypical, but you have to fail to succeed. You know, you have to struggle in order for anything good to actually happen to you. So yeah, a lot of times you're setting yourself up for failure. Is that such a bad thing? I mean, I think there's all this negative connotation with failure, with pain, and it's understandable because it fucking sucks, dude. I'm not saying it doesn't. Nobody wants to feel pain. Nobody wants to suffer, you know, but you have to. I mean, you have to open yourself up. You have to be all in for the good stuff and the bad stuff. Because if you're not all in for the bad stuff, you're not all in for the good stuff, and then you're just missing out, right? So, you know, it's kind of like life has really been eating away at me in the past week or so, and it feels like a lot of what I've been doing was for nothing, but it's just a tongue twister, but nothing is for nothing. No endeavor could possibly be pointless because the act of doing it is already progress. Does that make sense? I mean, there's no such thing as a waste of time as long as you're using time to build yourself into something. As long as you're actually committing to something, you're improving, even if it doesn't feel like it. You're working on something. You have a goal. Some goals are not as good as others. Some goals are not as noble as others. Some goals feel really lame, to be honest. The point is you're striving, you're actually working towards something. And the act of doing that is progress, all right? If you talk to a girl, and this is a strange example, but if you talk to a girl for, you know, a week, a month, 6 months, God forbid, and nothing happens, I mean, was it necessarily a waste of time? No, I mean, and when I say talk to a girl, I don't mean that only, I'm not saying that there's no such thing as a platonic, you know, friendship between the two sexes, but I'm just saying if you're trying to find a partner and you're not able to, is that necessarily a waste of time? I mean, I don't think so. I don't think it is because you're working, you know? You're working on it. You're figuring out what you want. You're figuring out what you need too, and there is no scenario in my mind where working on yourself could ever be considered a waste of time. And working on yourself being relative, because sometimes it doesn't feel like you're working on yourself if you're not meditating, if you're not hitting the gym, if you're not waking up at 6 a.m, but there's other ways to work on yourself. And I'm not saying that you should just pursue every romantic opportunity in the name of self-improvement, because that's not realistic. But I'm just saying, if you're trying your best, isn't that already a form of self-improvement? I mean, people get so hard on themselves for not improving, as if existence is not enough, you know? You made it, all right? If you're watching this video, and even if you're not, but what am I trying to say? You're alive, right? Is that not enough? I mean, when did we become so hyper-fixated with linear improvement? That's just not realistic. Things get better, they get worse, they get better again, they might get worse again. Sometimes you feel like you're at an all-time low, and then a few weeks later, a few months later, sometimes years later, you get to your all-time best, and I'm saying that from experience. But don't overthink trying to be better than you were yesterday. I'm not saying don't try. Always try to improve, but it's not always going to feel like, oh, I'm better than I was yesterday. Oh, I'm better than I was 2 days ago. And tomorrow, if that were the case, by the time you're 40, 50, you would just be a perfect person, right? It's not going to be linear. That's impossible. It's impossible. But as long as you're working, in a sense, you are improving. Even though I sound a little bit like a schizo right now, as long as you are trying to improve, you kind of are. Because the only true backslide, the only true regression is just to give up and to stop working, And the reason I'm saying this is because things have been looking down a little bit for me lately. Probably a lot of people. And you, I know things are hard. I'm not trying to say that things aren't hard or that I'm not trying to discount your struggle. They're gonna be hard. I'm sorry, man. And I don't say that as a gendered term. Whoever sees this video, I just mean, I'm sorry. Things get hard. You feel like you're doing better, things get worse, and then they get better again. That's just the nature of life. Just the only thing that you can do wrong, the only way to go wrong is to give up. And even then, there's still a way out. Right? We've all given up before, I'm sure. And there's ways to come back from that. Don't feel like you're hopeless. Don't feel like you're a hopeless case just because you don't feel hope actively. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. Maybe not now. Maybe in a few weeks, a few months, even years. Maybe you need to go to therapy. Maybe you need to quit your job and find a new job. Maybe you need to completely turn your life around. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Of course, I'm basically saying the opposite of that. But it's not impossible for anybody. And the places that I have been in my short life so far, I have seen a lot of people who were really at rock bottom. If they turned it around, you can turn it around, all right? I'm not trying to sound like an asshole, but I feel like things could probably be worse. You know what I'm saying? Wherever you are, and maybe I'm wrong, but most of the time, things could be worse, And I'm not saying that to discount your struggle, your pain, but I am saying you can come back from this. You can come back from worse than this, and you can definitely come back from this. And eventually it will be behind you. And I'm not saying to forget about it entirely. If anything, these times of struggle can really be helpful to look back on, to reflect, to analyze what you can do differently to avoid these types of scenarios, even though they're not completely avoidable, but how you can improve. It's important to reflect on your past. But in a couple years, maybe you won't even be thinking about it very much. Maybe 3-4 years from now, you're happy again, you're healthy, you're hopefully not alone. You're never alone, but maybe you don't feel alone either in a few years. Assuming you feel alone right now, which would probably be the reason you're seeing this video. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with this video, but I'm basically making it for people who are struggling. So, if it sounds like I'm taking for granted that whoever's watching this is having a rough time, it's because I am. I am assuming that will be the scenario that they see this video. And I'm really getting on here. This has been going on for a little while, but it's It's never too late, all right? And you've probably heard it 100 times, but why not 101? You know, it's never too late. You can always turn it around. You can always improve. And even if you don't, just your existence is a victory. The fact that you are still here is remarkable. The fact that you made it this far, I mean, I would be proud if I was you. Because things are difficult. Things are difficult enough just to be anybody. But to be you, I mean, you have your own unique set of struggles. What's going on in your life, I'll admit, I don't know. I don't know the details of it, but I know that it's not easy. I think you should be proud of yourself that you're still here right now. And I think that the only way, I mean, you can't improve if you can't improve if you're not here, you know? You gotta stick around, man. You can't give up. That's what I'm trying to say, is that you just can't give up. It's easier said than done, I know. It will take time, a lot of time. For most people, maybe the majority of their life, or at least a large chunk of their life, relative to what time it is, but what time it is in their life, not time of day. But it's gonna be worth it. It's gonna be worth it when you look back and you realize how far you've come. You've already come far, and you've still got a ways to go. So just keep going, you know. It's only up from here. It's only up from here, and I'm not saying it's straight up, all right? It might be up and then down, and then up and then down, but eventually you'll end up better off. And I believe in you, even though I don't know you. Or maybe I do. I don't know who's going to see this video, but I believe in you. If I can do it, you can do it. There's other people that did it that were even more, I don't want to say unlikely to succeed, but definitely statistical anomalies in the way that they recovered from their mental health journey. And if they can do it, I mean, come on. What's the phrase? Small potatoes? Is that the phrase? I don't know. It's easy peasy. No, it's not. I don't know why I said that, but I just mean if they can do it, I'm sure you can do it too. Just keep going, you know? It's gonna be hard, but I believe in it.